Yo, what's good? It's your boy Zillavel, Mr. Young Crouch Travels himself, you know. So I'm out here outside the City Light Stadium, home of Fagiano Okayama. You got some people exercising. And right now, we got a special guest here today, all the way from Africa. Okay, so, all right, let's get into it. I'm going to show him, and he's going to introduce himself, and he's going to say where he's from. So, what's your name, bro?
Yo, what's up? My name is King. I'm King Collier. King is my first name and Collier is my surname. So I'm from Botswana. I've been here for like 2 weeks now. I've been in Okayama for 2 weeks now. So yeah.
How are you finding it?
I like it, man. I like it here. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna come back because I like it here for some reason, which I'll mention down the line.
Okay, cool. So, firstly, how did we bump into each other? How did we meet? I've got my way of saying the story, but you can start off.
Oh, oh yeah, we met like at no, we were on our way to the
Yeah.
club, and I think I was not drunk but tipsy. So I remember we saw like a black guy, which is a rare case to see a black guy here. So the fact that you were black, you had to like say hi, where are you from, and we did so, and we found out you were a cool guy, and we had to like force you to tag along and go with us
Of
to the
course.
club.
See that? Cool guy. You hear that? You hear that? Yeah, man. So, all right, I agree with the story. From my perspective, there's a universal unwritten rule where if you go to a country and there aren't many black people, you nod, you salute another black person. So that's kind of what happened. I was going to a different club, and then you guys are like, nah, that's not the place to go to. They'll bump
Should
you.
try another one
Yeah.
where we are headed.
Exactly, and I didn't regret it. I met some cool people, so salute to you. Thank you for that.
Time.
So, you mentioned that you liked it so far. My first question is more like, how do you find being in Japan compared to your home country in regards to maybe safety, in regards to socials? How do you find it?
You know, Japan is amazing, bruh. Like, it's amazing. The level of security here is top notch because you can leave your phone here. It's either they'll take it to where you are or you find it where you left it. Like, there is no crime. Everyone is particular about each other's safety. So I like how secure it is here. You can walk around at any time of the day, even at midnight. You are not going to be attacked by anyone or any thugs out there. So it's very safe, and I like that about Japan.
Okay, how about in terms of like social activities? Do you find it easy to interact with people here and do things with people that you just meet?
Or with the Japanese people, to be precise, I would say, how do I put this? They are kind of introverts. They are kind of introverts. They are not out there. I don't know how to put it, but they are kind of introverts. But tell you what, if you need any assistance or help, they'll try to make sure that they do help you nonetheless. But they are not the people who are out there and outspoken, and I don't know how to put it, but you can get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But trust me, they will never leave you stranded. If you need help of any sort, they'll make sure that they help you. And the other thing is, I just like how the let me say professional and because they are so time conscious. You know, they do everything in order. They are so orderly. Let me put it that way. They are so smart. They are
Facts.
so orderly. There is so much respect for the Japanese because of them being an orderly society.
Yeah. Would you say that Botswana's not so much? I have my opinions on Botswana briefly, but do you think Japan, in terms of order, is on a different scale to Botswana? He's laughing. My guy's laughing.
Botswana is an Africa, man. You
Yeah.
know, the one thing that I realized about these guys being an orderly society, there is a small gap between the rich and the poor. So one of the reasons why you'd see people indulging in criminal activities like back at home, it is because of the poverty and all. So I would not deny the fact that back at home there are thugs. You can't just leave your car unlocked anywhere. You find your stuff missing. You can't just walk in the streets at some times of the day because thugs might attack you, get your phones and stuff. But all in all, we know why the reason people do that back at home. It is because of the poverty and everyone wants to survive. So here it's like there is a very very small gap, if there is actually, between the rich and the poor. So when people are living a good life, definitely there is no reason for them to be committing crimes and all. So yeah.
That's the interesting part. So, from my perspective, obviously, I grew up in the UK, but I've got Nigerian heritage. I'm an Igbo guy, but I love Africa as a whole. I'm very interested in the different countries and different societies. And what I've heard and researched from Botswana is, yeah, it's safe in comparison to a lot of other countries. And there is a majority ethnic group. So the reason why I bring up the majority ethnic group is because in Japan, it's quite homogenous. Everyone always talks about it being you only see Japanese people, and it has its pros and cons. One of the pros is that I guess like okay, if you're coming here from abroad, you definitely stand out. So that's a con in terms of being from abroad, maybe, unless you're in the arts world. Whereas if you're from here, you know how to access everything. Like you will be treated like a king. Like they take care of their own in that sense. And I feel like in a country in Africa where it's rare to have a majority like ethnic group, I feel like you'll be treated like a king as well because you're part of that majority ethnic group. But maybe that's not the case. Like, I don't know if you can correct me whether being Swana in Botswana gives you an advantage over like anyone else coming from abroad or coming from elsewhere.
No, that is true. That is true because we even have a policy for the businesses, for the opportunities and everything. It's a national policy that the priority should be given to the citizens. So honestly, we can't have nice things being given to the people who come from outside Botswana, whereas we see our people having the need for those things. So the priority is always given to the fellow countrymen before it's given to the other people. But not meaning that when you have an investment idea, we will shun it out. Or normally we give, as a country, we give preference to investors because honestly we are still a growing country. We need people with different minds to come and maybe help us where we lack. So yeah. I don't know if you are answered, but
no, it is. I guess on that, like you mentioned, the divide between rich and poor in Japan is very small. And I was wondering whether in Botswana you can see the divide between ethnic group, or is it possible to get a Swana person who's very, very wealthy and then also a Swana person who's very poor? Is that the type of thing that you'll get?
No, getting rich or being poor in Botswana has nothing to do with the tribe that you are coming from. Honestly,
Okay.
After independence, we are trying actually as a country by all means to have tribal divisions because we are all Botswana. We identify ourselves as, so there is equality, utmost equality when it comes to tribes or ethnic groups. But the issue of being rich or poor, it revolves around the mindset, honestly, because everyone has access to free education. The resources the government is trying by all means to distribute the resources equally. But there are people who choose to go the route of not wanting to be poor by doing certain things.
Yeah.
Drugs,
being
for
politically
instance,
correct.
those kind of things. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you were sugarcoating it. I noticed it. That's all good, man. All right. So on a more positive, light-hearted note, so you went to Osaka recently, right? Like, how is it getting lit in Japan? Like, because right now you're based in Okayama, right? So compare Okayama to Osaka or where else you've been.
Yeah, I like to explore. Honestly, I'm based in Okayama for this period that I'll be here. But I hate to go to Kobe. I hate to go to Osaka just to see how the places are different from where I am. But I can tell you what, man, Osaka with the mentality and the mindset. It's like they are so principled. They are grounded, kind of, because the vibes in Osaka and Kobe are different from the vibes here. I don't know if it is because they are bigger cities with a bigger population, maybe that has many external influences, but the vibes there, bruh, are different from the vibes here. I really enjoyed myself there, and I believe if I want to have a good time, like, or a good weekend away, it's better to go to the big cities than spend the weekend here, because yeah, it's vibey, but it's not as vibey as to the places that I was at over the weekend.
And that's interesting because I mean, I don't know the population of like Gaborone or the big cities in Botswana. I don't suppose it's so big. So a lot of people who I know that have come to Japan, when they're not from a big city, they find it overwhelming to go to Osaka or Tokyo. Whereas for you, you're like, nah, that's where it's at. And I personally agree. I still haven't been to Tokyo. I don't know if you've been to Tokyo yet.
I arrived in Tokyo and spent the night there, so I never
Oh,
explored the city. I
yeah.
just spent the night in a hotel. The following morning, left for
Left for it.
Okayama.
Yeah, that's the same with
I
me.
didn't explore the city, honestly.
Hopefully you can go before you.
Yeah, that is the intention. If the funds permit, I intend to go to Tokyo this weekend.
Night bus.
Yes, no, I'm
You
thinking of
can
catching
do
a
that.
night bus because
Yeah,
I hear it's cheaper
much cheaper.
than catching a bullet train.
Bullet train,
It's
Shinkansen.
expensive. So yeah, I'll see how it goes. I'm not promising, but if at all things
Yeah.
go my way, I'll end up going there because I want to meet the ambassador of Botswana in Japan. He's right there in Tokyo.
Oh, see,
If I
okay.
go to Tokyo, I'll have
The
the
embassy.
chance of meeting him. Yeah.
Ah, yes, that is nice, man. And you know what? I mean, like Young Crouch Travels is not just about Africans by any means, but there's a lot of like African communities that you can see in certain parts of Tokyo. It's similar to London and other mega cities in that you have pockets of people from different places making the city where it is like the vibrance and stuff like that.
That's true. That's
So whereas in Okayama, you know, it's nice that you've got people, you know, doing what they're doing in the park. Everyone's very friendly,
cycling,
community based, but like
everywhere in here cycles. Man.
This is it. That's another thing that I know. It's a very active society, no matter your age. So, yeah, kudos to that.
Because you know, the other thing that I really kind of appreciate about, I don't know if it, but it's Japan in general. They try to infuse ethics into their curriculum. Because we were observing some lessons in the school that is attached to the university. So there is a subject called ethics. Learners do it in primary. Maybe that is why it's easy for them to grow up well grounded. It is because they learn it even from school. So when you go to school, you learn ethics. When you are at home, the parents teach you ethics. So I want to believe it has an influence on how the turn out should be this kind of grounded society.
That's so interesting. Okay, that because I've always wondered why it's such a big population, but it's so safe and respectful. How have they been able to almost like make the mindset of the Japanese people very functional and very like respectful, but then the likes of America, the biggest economy in the world, they have so many issues regards to respect and safety. Like, where does it come from? So you mentioning the ethics thing, that is probably a good eye opener to that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true, and it's working for them as a country because when you have citizens who are grounded like these, it's easy for you to implement whatever development plan that you have in mind as the government. So
full of compliments, man. Full of compliments. So I got a little like hypothetical for you, yeah. So upon speaking to another Botswanan, actually, it was mentioned that
Samantha.
it was mentioned that Japanese not necessarily respectful. Like it's that there's a fine line between caring about someone and not caring. So you might see people on a metro, on a subway, out cold. You know, they're sleeping on the floor, and no one's checking up on them. So, you know, whereas like if you come from a society or from a heart where you care about the well-being of someone, you would just, see if they're okay. Whereas here, it's like you leave people alone who are different. So there's that. Is that respectful? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's confusing because actually I saw that in Kobe over the weekend. When we were getting out of the club in the morning, a few youngsters were sleeping outside there, and me being the considerate guy that I am, I was like checking if they are good. Everyone was like, hey, leave those guys there, I'll find out he's okay. And I was like, then there is a side that maybe we don't know that much about the Japanese. Now that you're bringing it to light, you never know if they are showing us their good side because we are foreigners or we are visitors, and there is a bad side that they can't show. Because I heard someone saying they're good at pretending, of which
I've heard this as well. Yeah, it's just devil's advocate, like obviously no one's perfect, but I think I kind of agree with your sentiment. Like it's the closest thing to such a big society to how it should function in terms of the safety is key. The respect. Order, I don't know if you've seen in the subway in Osaka, they're waiting in a line to get onto the metro, onto the trains. In London, people are pushing each other to get to the door first.
Yeah, you see, even on the roads, they are so abiding when it comes to the laws.
No jaywalking.
Don't just cross anywhere.
Yeah.
Because make sure they obey the traffic lights, and so they are respectful when it comes to abiding the laws.
Yeah.
Which is something to write home about.
Yeah.
Even if they might not be 100% perfect, but the majority of them, at least, if they are pretending so well.
They're great actors. They're the best actors in the world.
Yeah, it's working for them as a country, because we are going to go back knowing that Japanese are respectful and Japanese are nice people, and Japan is a safe and secure country.
Last couple things, right? So, do you know any Japanese people outside of Japan? Did you know any before coming?
Yeah, because Botswana has a small population.
Yeah.
You know definitely about most, if not all, of the people who are in a certain country before coming to it. But some, I just knew the names. But I knew about two who I really knew in person. And the guy who took me to Osaka and Kobe, I know him in person because I'm actually working with a sister back at home. So it was an easy one for me. That's why we even went to Osaka and Kobe driving his car, because he has been here for like 3-4 years now.
Okay.
He even drives around, so he's familiar with the place that much.
That's a nice link up. So but he's based in Okayama, and then he drove to...
No, he doesn't live in Okayama.
He's based in...
He is based in Totori. That's why I had to catch a train to Totori. Then when I go to Totori, we used his car to go there and spend the night in Kobe, pulse to Osaka on Saturday.
Sorry, things are just adding. I'm connecting the dots now, right? So I bought this whiskey called Totori 2 days ago, Japanese whiskey. It must be based or famous from that place, Totori.
Most probably, because it's a scenic city, I would say. Apparently, it's a desert. Like there are sand dunes there. But on the other side of the desert, it's is it a sea or an ocean? Something of that sort. Like there is water behind the desert, so you can tell that it's a spectacular view, kind of.
Yeah, no, got you. Yeah, and then just on the Kobe thing as well, mentioned that's where the Wagyu beef, Kobe beef, which is world renowned, it comes from there. It's named after the city. So yeah, Japan's got a lot to write home about. So
no, that's true, man.
Any last words for the Young Crouch Travel audience, man, that you'd say to encourage them or discourage them to come to Japan or to travel in general?
It can be only encouragement.
Yeah.
Because Japan is amazing, honestly. You got to love the culture. You got to enjoy the vibes. You gotta enjoy the safety and the security. Everything about Japan is amazing.
Yeah. All right, man. That's been your boy Zilla Vell, Young Crouch Travels, Mr. Young Crouch Travels himself, and we're out.